Hey, people, welcome. Hope everyone is okay. Let me go through. Oh, see, lots of the guys from the Spanish channel coming over. Yeah, I mean it's a good opportunity for training that ear. Practicing your English. As I said in the Spanish channel, apologizing here for a little bit of a stuffy, runny nose thing going on. The thing is this. I have one wife, three kids. Of my three kids, I have one that is like in kindergarten, so it's all of the possible diseases that every little kid has. My older son, he practices jujitsu in a gym where people come from all over the world, so he catches a bunch of crap as well. And my teenage son, same thing. He goes to a gym doing judo and very close contact with other people, and he gets a bunch of crap from all of those people as well. So it's a mixture of 1,000 possible different sources of diseases. So yeah. Yeah, so apologizing for that, but I'll do my best. It's not going to be a super long. I just want to catch up with you guys, just chit chat a little bit, answer some questions, and comment on what's going on. So let me go here. Opus minimus. It's not easy being number one. Okay. Hi, Federico. Oh, yeah, from the Spanish channel. Hey, fair, no time. Yeah, just saw you over there. As mentioned, you can go for an example, make the barrel of a third gun with a hydraulic tube and machine with ECM, making it like a real electrolysis. There's a YouTuber making bullets like a rail gun. Like I've seen some of those videos. It seems that it can be pretty powerful, but it needs to be scaled. It's something a little bit larger. But yeah, a rail gun can definitely be very, very powerful, especially the military ones are quite strong. In Denmark, everyone speaks English. I guess, yeah. I think that for Nordic countries, like it's not only Denmark, but Denmark, Sweden, Finland, even in Germany. I know of people that move to Germany and they don't even speak German. Even in their workplace, they all just speak English, and they're just fine with that. They don't even need to know German so as to work there, and they just get along with English. And in the Nordic countries, they're very good at teaching English, not only English, but also Spanish as well. So these kids, they have from a very early age, they know their own language, whatever they talk in Denmark or Swedish or whatnot, and they're fluent in English and they're fluent in Spanish as well, which just blows my mind. But it's not just knowing different languages. The more languages you know as a kid, the smarter you actually become. It's like it's a proven fact that a kid that at such early age learns different languages, it's just a smarter person. They just have a number of studies that they've done that learning a language, a second or third language from a very early age, maximizes the IQ of the child. So yeah, by all means, get your kids involved and have them learn. Ginger tea is really good for the colds. Really, yeah. I don't know. I'll just drink a tea later and maybe get with that. But yeah, just again, it's been months since one gets sick, the other one gets it, and it's never really bad. It's always just a little bit of a runny nose. I haven't had fever or anything, but a little bit of this, a little bit of coughing, a lot of coughing actually. And I've noticed in YouTube a bunch of people, a bunch of YouTubers from all over the world, they're always like struggling a little bit more than I've ever seen it before. So yeah. Hi, Fernando. How are you and your family? Thanks, man. If Maximus doing well, doing pretty good in general. Can't complain, especially how things are these days. But just super lucky in that regard. Yeah, pea shooters won't help anyone. Only God can. Okay, Eric Andres Fisher, I'm thinking moving on to Australia. Is a safe country. Eric Andres, I wouldn't go to Australia. You know, it's fuck. It's a pretty fascist kind of place. It's almost like Canada. Australia, Canada, they have become fascist regimes where you have almost no freedom. And it's not only about guns, which is, at least for me, it's a big part of the picture. But I wouldn't go to Australia anymore. That as of this point, I would not go to Canada. Canada with the things they've the thing is this: when a country, when a government normalizes certain things that should not be normal, then it's very difficult to go back. When people just accept that, yeah, your government has the right to block your bank account because you are supporting something that they did not approve of. Yeah, that's it. When you normalize, or let's just take away guns from people like they did in Canada, it's I would not mess with that. I would rather go to a number of other countries that don't have that kind of authoritarian governments. You have a bunch. Now, okay, I'm thinking of Federico Colgate. No, not like a real gun. Is gunpowder but ignited with high voltage. Okay. Where's the where's the Indiana Jones idol? I have a couple actually. Probably see that's the life size one over there. So right next to my knife, there's the Indiana Jones golden figure, and there's a tiny one. I don't know if you get to see it. Yeah, that one over there. That one, a tiny idol. So I have two, one there and another one there. Two little Indiana Jones idols that I bought over the years. Um, yeah, fan of, and it's this thing about the 80s and even 90s when men acted like men, and it was cool to be masculine and seeking adventures and not being a fucking whatever it is guys are these days. But yeah, just bygone era, I guess. um, want to see my dad's weapon? Go see. Okay. um, Johnny, Fernando, most Europeans know 3 to 5 languages. Yeah, I know. I guess that in the northern countries they're better at it in terms of multi-language thing, at least what I've seen. And it's going to be depending on what country. But at the very least, 2 languages, super normal. And two fluently, not one cerveza, por favor, no. But actually, actually knowing, right? Um, not railgun, but gunpowder ignited by high. Yeah, there's like electric guns, right? I know that's not sure. Maybe it's allergies instead of a cold. No, man, it's definitely not allergies because it's one catches it and spreads it, and it's been this way for months now. I don't know what it is, but we'll get through it. No big deal. Australia, Canada, China, North Korea, no thank you. Exactly. Why? Why would you do that to yourself? No. I mean, you can go. I mean, this is just my humble opinion based on what I would favor or not. I would not go to a country like Australia, given that you have other options. But it's perfectly understandable that for some people, they go over there, they're happy. Yeah, the best country ever. Living in Australia for 30 years and could not have been happier with my decision. Okay, that's perfectly acceptable. It's entirely possible. But there's not all places are the same. Not all countries have the same standards of living or the same um, or the same values even. And that's one of the things that especially in Europe, because I know that illegal immigration is a big deal in the United States as well. But you know what? Even that, and I know that some people will be upset with me, but even that kind of immigration that you have, so you have illegals, you have Venezuela dumping people from their prisons. But even those people those illegals in the United States, there is something that at some point there's common ground. Now, when you look at countries from Middle Eastern countries, African countries, uh, there's very different core values. So, for example, there was this couple traveling through India, a man and his wife in India, months spent in India riding motorcycles. I was reading this right now that they were camping next to a police station in India. They got attacked in the middle of the night, raped by 7 guys in India. That shit happens in places like that. It's not common. I mean, horrible things can happen to you anywhere at any point. And yes, there's that like group rape and abuse in other parts, but it's not normalized. It's not something that is socially acceptable at that level in Western countries. In Western countries, what are the chances of a mass rape attack happening in any Western country? Like in the middle of a rally or a protest, or like thousands of people or hundreds of people gathering, everyone raping a single woman like animals. That is not something you see. I mean, let me know. I cannot think of a single incident like that, and yet there was such a case in Egypt with a correspondent from I think she was a CNN journalist of some kind. They just started. It is horrible, and these things happen in these countries. They have very different core values, very different ideas of what's right and wrong. They don't share the same Christian traditions. Which, yes, you have horrible people that will claim to be Christians, and that's entirely true. But there is something different when you look at societies that have such foundational beliefs that are completely different from what we consider good, evil, and good and evil. Then that's a problem, and that's what's happening in Europe with many of these people that just even if they arrive. I mean, you could even arrive legally and still have that kind of mentality. And I was watching a YouTube video from these people in Sweden, right? And the guy was explaining you cannot change most people from back home. The guy talking about wherever it is he came from the Middle East. People just don't think this way. They see a woman that is not wearing a scarf or what. She's a prostitute. She deserves to be have that happen to her. How can you change that mentality? How can you change that way of thinking? It cannot be done. You will destroy your own society by trying to incorporate people with that mentality. At least that's the way I see it. Yeah. Enough of my little rant there. Um, um, Bitcoin, says Zach. Yeah, Bitcoin is doing very well. It's doing nicely. I think that there's something there. As I always say, I wouldn't put anything that I'm not willing. Well, maybe not willing. That I'm not okay with losing. So it's not as if, oh yeah, I have this pretty solid investment with a 5, 6, 7, 10% return each year. No, talking about kind of screw it kind of money, right? You're putting a long ass bet. And yeah, I mean, it's doing pretty nice. It's doing pretty sweet, Bitcoin. So yeah, let's. If you want to try it out, I always have my links there below, and the links I have, it's because I actually trust what I'm linking to. Coinbase, I've been using it for years before I even had any referral of any kind. I still think it gets you the $10 for every. Well, it's not every. It's the first $100 that you buy. For $100 of Bitcoin, you get 110, right? And it's a kickback of $10 for me for providing the referral. But if I didn't trust it, I mean, if I didn't have it there myself, I wouldn't. And having it, you can buy. If you're going to be buying serious amounts, you don't leave in the exchange. You buy in the exchange, and then you send it to your own hardware wallet, which is outside the control of Coinbase, the government, or anyone. It is on you 100%. There's no chance in hell that will be taken away from you. You have to be very responsible of not losing that hardware wallet or your paper wallet, whatever the case may be. Well, bug flying around there, but it's you want to do that. You don't want to leave hanging in the exchange, in the app, right, where you bought it. If it's just $100, you might as well leave it there. It's gonna be just fine. But any more serious amount, you want to get it out of there. Um, yeah, Juan Cruz. Hi, Fer. What are your thoughts about aerospace engineering career? I think that if you're smart enough to have a career in aerospace engineering, by all means, go for it. People that have hard to get degrees and are smart, yeah, you will be doing just fine. I would definitely encourage you to have a career in aerospace engineering. Kids are walking petri dishes. Yeah, they are. To a great extent, they are. Lots of influence, and that's why it's so dangerous when we allow um, uh, people that should not be within 1,000 miles of a kid to influence them. All of the woke gender insanity that we've seen these last few years and just keeps getting worse. Access to children is the one thing you should not have, right? It's just terrible, and we're still pretending to be okay with that. We are okay with madness at times, and we just do not know how much damage it's going to be doing. Uh, although we kind of do, we already see the trends. We already see the trends of how many kids this effect of spreading of copycatting in classrooms. One kid says, "Yeah, I do not date. I'm in the wrong body." A little girl says that, and then another one, and then she realizes that the one that said it first has all the attention, and everyone is congratulating her for being so brave and strong. And then she said, "Well, maybe I'm brave and strong too. Yeah, me too." Especially with a preteen child, they don't even know what they're talking about. They will say whatever nonsense they think gets them the most attention. And by the time they realize what's going on, they've already been mutilated, drugged up to their brains, and had their bodies and minds destroyed. And that's where we are. That's what we've normalized at this point. In countries, in some of these Nordic countries, they already understand that, and they've gone back. They're not reaffirming these gender stereotype things. No, they've gone back because they understood how much damage it actually did. So that's what we have to copy as well in the rest of the world. Sometimes these countries from Northern Europe, they screw up pretty bad, and at times they get it right. This would be one of those. They're also realizing that the multicultural is our strength bullshit. It does not work already. Swedish government already is saying no, no. You have to integrate. We were wrong. We miscalculated when we said that you should that we should have all of this diverse thing going on. No, you have to integrate to our culture, because if not, we will be destroyed. Everything will be lost. And fortunately, they're starting to do this. Is it too late? I have no idea. Um, Tammy Davis, happening more in Western nations with influx of invaders. Yes, it is. Stop letting them in. Yeah, but who will? Who will stop them? Because we've already been here. And I know that everyone is super excited about Trump. Trump has already been president 4 years, and he did not fix much at all. Now, are these Biden and the rest of the any better? Of course not. Maybe worse, sure. But do you really think much will change? I honestly, I have no um, expectations of Trump fixing anything. If he does, allow me to be pleasantly surprised if Trump does awesome, great things. But at this point, I think it's all kind of like the same. It's all the same thing. And it's like pretending to, yeah, it is. You have this one, and then you have this other, and they're super different. Is it really? Or is it just a scenario where no matter what you pick, you're still allowing the same people, the same corporations, the same elites, the same globalist elites that runs the world. And by that I mean banks and large corporations. They are the ones that ultimately decide what they want to do with our lives. And that's, yeah, yeah, kind of losing my voice here, guys. So I'll be a little bit longer, but not much. So if you have any questions, anything you'd like me to talk about or comment on, leave it there in the comments. Yeah, running out of voice already. Not the best. In my short experience with Middle East, it depends also. I don't know the people that I met, not so much. Really respectful and helpful, but no, maybe because Denmark. It could well be, yeah. It could well be that you meet people from, and as in most places, people that have better education and have uh, maybe people in your work environment, no matter where they come from. They may come from countries like that. It'll take India, for example. An Indian guy working in tech in the United States, probably super educated, polite. Yeah, he's not going to be your typical mass arpist attacking a little girl in India. But it does not change the fact that that has become part of their culture. They've normalized that to a point where the average, the mass, it's kind of our thing. You can't change this. I mean, she was she was kind of asking for. It's very difficult to change that when it becomes part of your culture. Bamsi moi. As of 2020, the percentage of inhabitants of a foreign background in Sweden has risen to 25.9%, probably too late now. Damn, that is pretty high. I wonder how much it is in UK. I was watching a video recently from the Lotus Eaters. It's a pretty cool channel. And they were mentioning that it's kind of similar in UK. It's like walking around with a camera in London, and you don't see many traditional British people. Let's call it that, right? And I remember last time I was around there, around Buckingham Palace. I'm not talking about ghetto, no, just there. Um, um, it was signs in the Arab language, I guess it is, but the entire all of the streets, all of the shops, it was all in Arab language. You saw very little English in in the block surrounding Buckingham Palace, and for the rest, it was kind of like the same. And what was very interesting, we were having lunch or something. We were grabbing a bite there, and I saw this little, well, not like a teenage girl, right? And she was a white British teenage girl with a school uniform, and she talked as if she talked with a Jamaican accent. Not exactly your typical British Harry Potter, Emma Watson, or no, she talked like a Jamaican, yeah, Rastafari. And I noticed that it's very common, and it makes perfect sense when you have so many people coming from so many different places, and there's obviously a tendency towards having people from certain areas. That will affect your culture. It will affect the way people speak. It will affect people, the way people think, the culture that you have. It will affect the composition of your demographics as well. So, and as Joe Biden said, I don't remember exactly by what year it was that in the United States, white people would be the minority. And Joe Biden said, and that is a good thing. I'm not exactly sure why it's a good thing that there's less white people, but obviously that's what they want. So, maybe as a white person, you're not looking forward to that, to be in a place where they celebrate your extinction, basically, because Imagine if you said the opposite. Oh, we're celebrating that we have less brown people or less black people or less Asian people. Imagine if you were from any of these groups and you had someone, a president, celebrating the idea, of, yeah, we have so many less Asian people now. Well, if you're apart from that demographic, it kind of puts you in a position where, man, I'm really not welcome here, am I? No, you're not, and it kind of sucks. Federico Cog 08. Last year, I tried to the course Jorge Baigorria in Loma de Zamora, but the people in Tito told me he's not much there. Well, that sucks. I don't know where he is these days. It was a great opportunity when he was, but maybe look for him online. I'm sure he has some something on Facebook or Instagram or something. Pretty sure you can find him and see where he's doing classes. I hope he still is. JR Pipe Hitter. It won't get better until it get worse. I agree. Yeah, I agree with you, dude, 100%. It won't get better until it get worse. And usually that's the way it goes. Historically, you need that last straw that breaks the camel's back before people react. And um, I think it's sad. It's very concerning. I'm pretty worried about all of this, but I agree with you until it gets a lot worse. So this means we still have a lot of decline to go through. We still have lots of years of seeing things go completely fucking insane before people say enough and everything explodes like a damn bomb, like a pressure cooker, right? Like something that's under pressure and you just let it run until it blows up. And I think that's where we are. I think that's where we are. UK 14.8. What is that? 14.8%. The original Ozark. Hey, nice to see you there, man. Immediate deportation back to country of origin. Yeah, but how do you do that with so many? You know what? I will give you another. Stop letting them in. If it's impossible to deport everyone, okay, but it's not impossible to stop illegals from crossing over into your country. Every other country apparently manages to do that, right? What was it in Finland or wherever it was that they had Russians crossing over? Fence, guys with guns. No, you're not crossing here anymore. Oh, but no, you're not. That's it. There's no political decision. There wasn't with Trump, and there's not with Biden for obviously enough. There's no decision to say enough is enough. No one else crosses this border illegally. Why? Because we have a wall. And if we don't have a wall and there's a hole in the wall, we have a guy with a gun that will shoot you if you cross illegally. And that's all there is to it. It's not that fucking complicated. It really is not. There's simply no desire. There's no intention of doing this from a political perspective. It's not Trump and it's not Biden, because this, what I just said, anyone can do it at any time. Trump can pick up a phone and say, you know what, no one crosses anymore. Anyone that crosses gets shot because you cannot enter the country illegally. National emergency, done. But he didn't do it, and he won't do it either, and that's just the way it is, right? One thing I feel missing your book is how to make activated carbon to make a water filter. Yeah, maybe not the best way to. I mean, you can buy it. You can buy activated carbon, and even in third world countries, you can buy bags of this stuff that will work even better than anything you make yourself. It's true you can make it, but my recommendation is really going with an actual proper water filter. They're not that expensive and they work out a lot better than anything. Any serious water purification need that you have, you definitely want to have a proper water filter, not something improvise yourself. This is kind of like improvised firearms. Yeah, sure, you can do them. Now, why would you if you can actually buy a gun? That it's kind of like that deal. Yeah, really running out of voice here. doing my best. So I'll get to the last couple comments and stuff, and then call it. The original also, the people need to decide whose country it is. If you believe and know that it's your country, then you need to defend your country. Get rid of the communist leadership and get done what needs. Yeah, but again, who's going to do that? Trump will be next president. Will he actually do that? I don't think he will. I don't think Trump will stop illegal immigration, and he can. He could when he was president, yet chose not to. Lots of money spent, walls and fences and shit and contracts. It's always the same damn thing, but never the actual decision of no one else crosses. There's no walking illegally into the United States anymore. Why not? Well, because you're not allowed to. You get pushed right through the same hole you came through, and if you resist, you do get shot. And that's very unfortunate, but that's the way it is. That would end all of this nonsense immediately, like that. It just stops because that's how it works in every other part of the world where that decision was made. Do you think that there's any other country that has this? Is the this is a ridiculous version of the American exceptionalism. If you want to stop someone from crossing the border, you have your military to protect your sovereign territory. You just don't allow it to happen. What is it? You cannot stop people from walking across it. It makes no sense. But again, we've normalized this idiotic insanity. They just, this is like when the Simpsons. The guy was just when the chief of police, he was like in the border, and the guy was was crawling between the chief's legs. It's like that. It is incredible. But people end up believing that you can because it's too big, it's big. Yes, you can. If you make that decision, you can. Biden quote 2050, but I think soon. Yeah. Oh, he said 2050. Man, 2050 is just around the corner. So minority of white people in the United States by 2050. Okay, that's our goal then? All right. No one asks why is that a good thing? Why he said it's a good thing that there's going to be a minority white people. And once that happens, what, you will be a protected class? You'll be one of the persecuted minorities that, yeah, I doubt that very much. Frankis Maximus. Fernando, can you comment on how Milei is doing in Argentina? Milei is doing as well as he can in Argentina. The economy is still a disaster. He said it could not be overturned quickly, and he's absolutely correct about that. You're still, and inflation is slowly, slowing down. But there's many things that, there's a bunch of things I really don't like all that much about Javier Milei. He's not the Messiah, the great savior. No one can save a country like Argentina in just a few months or even a few years. But then again, there's things where we kind of, let's just say he's more of a politician than he wants you to believe he is. Now, he gets along great with Trump. They're like freaking brothers, which is, I guess it's a good thing. But many of the things that I see from Trump that also raise quite a bit of a question mark in terms of who are you really for? Are you really for the people? Are you really doing everything you can for improving things? Or are you just saying you will and end up always coming up with excuses as of why it cannot be done? In the case of Milei, he said, yeah, let's look at the positives. He's cutting back on the spending a lot, right? Can he do better? I think he's done very good in terms of cutting back on spending in Argentina. He did fantastically well. So that would be a positive thing. Then again, things like there's not even an attempt being made of bringing to justice those that in the previous administration stole from the country. A lot of money. I'm talking about insane amounts of money. There's no intention of bringing all of those people to justice. There's more of a desire, apparently, of negotiating with them and seeing where they, and that is I feel that's not a good compromise. If we're gonna have finally justice in a country like Argentina, then those people need to pay. Those people need to give back the money they stole, and they need to go to jail. And that's not something that Javier Milei has any intention of doing. He actually closed down the uh, anti-corruption special task force thing that was going on that Mauricio Macri started. So that's not a good sign. But in terms of the economy, we still have to wait and see. He's cut back a lot on spending, on printing of money, and slowly the economy will stabilize, but it will be very, very painful. It will be extremely painful. You have insane inflation at this point still, even though it's slowing down, and this translates into extreme poverty all over Argentina. And you'll see it get a lot worse before it starts getting any better. Yeah, yeah. Just a couple more questions here and things, and I'll be on my way. Um, if everything is going to be worse at the end, have land in the countryside a little isolated is not a bad thing. No, it's never a bad thing to have land. I would argue about how isolated you are, how many people you have to count on and work along with. The idea of being the lone wolf, I think it's been proven time and again that it just simply doesn't work. But small community, yeah, I'm all for that. Nicolas Hoffman. Hi, Fernando. How do you check your stock? Do you have a checklist? Um, do you check it once a month? Once a year, I try to have things that will have a long shelf life. So maybe once a year, I check my bags and stuff like that. I'm a little bit disorganized. I don't have like a specific checklist to go through. But batteries, stuff like that, and perishables once a year. It's possible government to chase down everyone to pay taxes. That proves that they can identify illegal immigrants and deport them. Of course, the original OSAC. Of course they can, but they choose not to. They can do that, and they can stop people from illegally crossing the border. The crossing is over there. Customs is that office right there. No, this is not the way you want to go through. Bye bye. Oh no, but we still want. Oh, but you can't. And that's all there is to it. But there's no intention of doing that. You don't even have to start shooting people. Honestly, with riot control, which they do have, you can push them back. You can have good policing done, and good crowd control work done, and you will push them back from the same border they're trying to cross. You don't even allow them to cross in the first place. That's what you do when you really want to stop it, but they don't want to do that. So is Trump just the alternate puppet of the oligarchy? Yes, friend Agni. I think he is. I think he's the other puppet where, yeah, well, you damn commie, but you're a fascist. And they all work for the same people, and they all would do the exact same thing. There is Israel is a common ground. Even Bolsonaro wife wore an Israeli T-shirt when she went to the voting booth. Yeah, they all yeah. Let's see. Yeah, it's the kind of thing that YouTube does not want you to connect dots on it and that sort of stuff. But we all know what this is all about. We're not stupid. We get it. And it's terrible because the kind of thing that they're normalizing these days is fucking insane. There's no justifying it. But it's been going for decades now, and either people are just so sadly stupid they cannot even point their own country in a map in most cases. I'm talking about people that have no idea about who the current president is or who the last one was, let alone have any idea what's going on in Israel or Gaza. They have no fucking clue. They have no idea, and they just repeat whatever the mainstream media tells them to say. Sometimes they tell you to be angry. Sometimes they tell you to be sad. Sometimes, yeah, I'm with this or that, and it's just part of the show. Bukele too. Yeah, well, Bukele, I think Bukele's Palestinian heritage, if I remember correctly. I think that Bukele is a little bit more of the, yeah, I know how things go, but Bukele, if I remember well, Bukele's father is Palestinian Christian of all things. So yeah, interesting It's interesting heritage there. The original O song, the people have the power to make the leadership, identify, and deport. They have the power of the ballot. Well, if the ballot is only going to be like again, like in The Simpsons, where they remove the mask and it's the same aliens, the same two aliens, you can vote for either one. Either one is not going to be changing much. At least I think it's not going to be changing much based on the previous presidency that Trump already had and what we saw from Biden so far. Biden is not going to be deporting anyone, and Trump will talk and actually do very little, at least the way I see it. I mean, again, I would be extremely surprised, happily surprised, if he ends up closing the border, deporting people that shouldn't be there. Sure, that would be great. I'm not holding my breath. I haven't seen any that Trump is a puppet. Well, the original Osaka. Well, you've seen Trump, the way he handled COVID. If that's not a puppet, I don't know what it is. Warp speed money for the pharmaceuticals. Why? You know what a guy that is not a puppet would have done? Nah, we're not closing down a damn thing. Vaccines and any kind of drug you want to approve in this country has to go through the proper procedure because you're not special. In spite of you being super rich, you have to go through the same thing. And we're not getting people shot with this crap without properly testing it. That's what a not puppet guy would have done. You have the case of DeSantis, the way in which he handled things. I think he handled things a lot better. Maybe that's why DeSantis slowly disappeared from the picture and Trump is still there. I don't know. Man, this is just my opinion. You may have something completely different, but that's the way I see it. I did see evidence that he was relying on the wrong people for advice, but I think he will do much better in that regard this time around. I don't know, man. It's always easy to say, yeah, I was influenced by the bad actors, and this time I'll get things right. Okay, if he does, that would be great, but I don't think he will. That's just I have no crystal ball here. I just have an opinion based on what we already saw and the feeling I get from the guy. Trump, the father of lockdowns and the jab. Exactly. The guy is, yes, Bukele is a Palestinian Christian. His father is an imam. Yeah, I think he was a religious Muslim of some kind. And so he converted to Christian. Bukele, I think he's very much a Christian. He talks about Christian. Yeah, Bukele is 100% Christian. So his wife is a Sephardic Jew. Okay. I didn't know that. Trump was relying on Fauci for advice. He made the wrong call, but he was getting bad information. We are all operating with hindsight now. All present heroes have some storyline. You know what? If you ask me, I think that the last president got, yeah, I think the last true president of the United States, he got removed by those in power. I think that guy, the guy in the last silver real money, that guy was the last president, in my opinion. Everyone else falls in line. All presidential heroes, yep. Trump is for a vaccine plus wanted biometric tracking systems, and he was, very much in terms of gun control. He was like there's a video in which he's like there with Feinstein, and she's like super happy that she's with Trump, that now is on her side, going against those gun nuts. And Trump saying, as always, super cocky. Well, you don't have to be afraid of the gun lobby. They would just do as they're told. Anyway, you probably saw the clip as well. Freaking sad. Hey, I'm a pureblood. Well, congratulations. I think it's the best thing you could possibly do. I would not have gotten that jab in a million years. The worst thing, worst thing ever. And we're now seeing it. Now the largest COVID vaccine test done, over 100 million people being tested. Yep, problems in your brain, problems in your heart, but it's just your brain and your heart, right? What's the big deal? Rooster Cog, where Trump started Operation Warp Speed Force experimental detention worldwide. Does not matter if you wanted it to be your choice. Governments and corporations did what they want. Exactly. And it was in fact a lot worse than in many other countries. It was not as horribly implemented as it was in the United States. They are all puppets. Politicians should require suits like NASCAR drivers. that's quite good. Yeah, I agree with you there 100%. Trump uncle was longest installed professor of MIT. The original OSOC. Kennedy was not perfect either. May have picked. Yeah, correct. Yeah, and he wasn't an example of a great father or husband either. But I think in terms of but he was definitely removed by a deep state. Yes, that's my point. He was removed, So as imperfect as we all are creatures of God, and as I'm sure President Kennedy was imperfect in many ways too, he's the guy that got his head blown up. There's a reason why they shot him in the fucking head, and it wasn't because he was screwing Marilyn Monroe, Anyway, that's just the way I see it. And unvaccinated, I'm still retarded. You would probably be a lot worse if you had been vaccinated. So take your Did he have Marilyn taken care of? I don't know. Maybe. Yeah. Would you be surprised that they just got rid of the problem that this woman could have been for him? I wouldn't. Guys, it's going to be all for now, really. Not even an hour, but just voice, nose, and all of the stuff going on here is bringing me down. So I'll just get a nice hot bath. And by the way, cold showers, those are a thing, and they're pretty awesome. So if you want to give it a try, guys, if you're feeling a little bit like depressed or sad or just cold shower. Get yourself a cold shower right now, 5 minutes under that cold water. It will change your perspective of everything very quickly. Just a little thing that you may want to implement. It's supposed to have a lot of benefits, and you can look it up. Get lemon, honey, whiskey. I don't drink alcohol much. I actually had half a beer today with my wife and some leftover pizza, but very rarely, Not really an alcohol drinker at all. But yeah, I'll take you up on lemon and honey with a nice tea. Guys, that's going to be all for now. Really, thank you for being here as always. And we have to do this next time, okay? I see you next time. See you next video. Have an awesome day. And if you have any questions or anything, always you have the links there below and such. Okay? Bye-bye.